Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. You're watching the Kaiser Report. I'm John, coming to you today with some more information on what's going on here in Appalachia and Tennessee and North Carolina. The roads are still closed. The bridges are still down. And we're wondering when our illustrious cabinet of fools up there in Washington will decide to help these people out. You know, let me just say this about that. All over the world, when catastrophes take place, guess who shows up with a helping hand and with water and supplies and men to work to open up after let's just take Haiti, for instance, when they had their catastrophe there with the earthquake. We were right there to help out with money and everything else. But if we are going to rely on the rest of the world to come in and help us out in any fashion whatsoever, you're going to have a long wait, because we get to the back of the list with the world's population, but we go out and help everybody. And that's the way this country was founded, and that's the way our citizenry in this country react to helping people in need. That said, we have a sitting president that knew all of this was happening at the onset of it and laid on a beach in Delaware. And his answer yesterday or the day before was, well, I was on the telephone for almost 2 hours, and it was only 90 miles away. And then you have the vice president that was fundraising with Hollywood elites during this hurricane and the happenings of it, and no aid is coming. Biden has said, well, it's going to be up to the states because we don't have any money. Is that because we just gave another $80 billion to Zelensky? Maybe Zelensky should move into Appalachia, and then, we'll get all the money we need. This is a crooked administration with people in cabinets that should be working along with FEMA and the Department of Transportation, et cetera, but we have cabinet diversity hires that have no idea on how to do that job in the first place. Therein lies part of the problem. The other part of the problem is you have a clearly dementia-affected person that is in charge, the head man. Look at his desk when they interviewed him yesterday, and they were asking, shouldn't you have been in Washington rather than Delaware while this hurricane was ravaging the southern states? And his answer was, Donald Trump's lying. It's incredible what this administration has gotten away with. And then the border visit by Kamala. Everyone now knows that she had a Tiffany necklace worth $62,000. What the hell does that have to do with anything is my question. But the media is covering that up, and some of the platforms here are carrying on with it. I don't care what kind of a necklace she has. She showed up at the border for a pure photo opportunity for her election campaign. And that's the only reason that she took 3.5 years to get there in the first place. And then she has an entourage that comes in and cleaned everything out so you don't see another person but her and 2 Border Patrol agents that agreed to walk with her in front of the Trump wall, which actually works. Why pick that particular place to go? Because it was a photo op. And then she goes back to the airplane under questioning of why she's not doing anything about the catastrophes that are taking place here. And she does a photo op on Air Force Two with a blank piece of paper, a pen, and a earpiece that's not connected into her cell phone, acting like she's going to stay abreast of what the damages are. That's an out-and-out lie in itself. And another photo op showing that she is trying to do something. Why now? Why do you act now like you're doing something when you have not done anything for the 4 years that you're sitting as Vice President of the United States, and now magically, if you get elected and get that promotion, you could maybe do something? I don't believe you, and you, the people, the voting population in this country should not believe it either, because it's as far from the truth as you can get.
It's just not right.
And then we have the Longshoreman Strike that hit at midnight last night. They're out. This will hurt the economy in ways that you can only imagine. When you stop the shipping of goods coming in and out of this country, it affects small business, large business, and you, the average Joe that goes to work every day and has to put bread on his table and milk in the refrigerator, will have a hard time finding all of this in a scant few weeks if this continues. So we have the President of the United States that says, why, when the reporter asks, why is it that you can't use Taft Hartly and stop this so we don't get more damage to our economy? And his great answer was he doesn't believe in Taft Hartly. He wants to go for union negotiations and collective bargaining.
I'll be damned. I'll be damned.
All while we have the Israeli situation ramping up and moving in, and now we're going to send more of our soldiers there to put them in harm's way. The Houthi rebels this morning were still firing on ships in the Red Sea. We have our military ships over there trying to defend their own self and these ships, and with stand-down orders as far as retaliating against somebody that's firing ballistic missiles at our ships. If this all does not worry you, then you will deserve the outcome. But if we don't get together and put our minds together on how to help our fellow man in this country during the devastation that this storm has caused, and urging our government to do something about this strike before it affects and wipes out our middle class in this society, which is what this administration is hell-bent on doing. Make no mistake, there's a plan underway. Someone interviewed Hillary Clinton. It was on the news cycle last night where she said, don't worry, we have an October surprise coming. Well, what is that? Is this part of the strike? Is this part of how they're going to cheat or lock us down so we can't get out and vote? This is why I urge you all, if you haven't considered early voting, please do. Because it is a very, very important thing that you get your vote in as early as possible to avoid whatever the October surprise is going to be, according to Hillary Clinton. Why these people cannot give up and go away and retire. It's not that they're not wealthy enough. They have made themselves wealthy through their government tenures. Go away and enjoy your life. And stop trying to stay in power because we don't need people like you anymore, Hillary. That should have been evident to you in 2016, which you never got over. And that's what the hate is all about. And the hate has been driven through your party until everyone has been affected by it, including the entire population of the United States. Kamala Harris, with the fake photographs and the fake answers that she comes up with. She sat with 2 NBA basketball players yesterday and could not even give them a straight answer. It's, well, when she's asked about small business and what she's going to do to help it. Well, when I grew up on top of a daycare center. Our apartment was up there, and so I know the neighbor down the road who owned that was like a second mother to me, and I know all about small business. Really? This is your answer about the United States economy? Wow. Hard to believe that we're in this situation, but we're here. It started a long time ago. They're now going to say that, we didn't show up to help the people in Appalachia. Well, I'll tell you why they're not showing up to help the people in Appalachia, because they're blue and those states are not. And we have people that are diehard, working people, which is what they want to cancel. And that's why we have let in 20 plus million people into the United States that will work for next to nothing and be controlled by whatever party they get to keep in our government today, and take the jobs of the lazy people that have gotten lazy because of COVID and layoffs and sheer will to succeed anymore is been dampened down by the policies of this administration. And mark my words, those policies will just continue to roll on if we do not vote correctly in this election upcoming. So the Longshoremen strike on the East Coast and in the Gulf will hurt our economy even worse. And if you think that we are going to believe that we're coming out of this economy drop, it will get worse, and it will get a lot worse if these stevedores stay out. So this is what we have to look forward to here on Tuesday, the first day of October. Wonder when Hillary's surprise will loom its head. Anyway, all we can do as citizens is help where we can. There's GoFundMe sites that have been set up to help people in Appalachia and Asheville and East Tennessee. I've personally gone out and driven to look at some of the devastation that's right here just outside of Bluff City, Tennessee, and going into Elizabethton, Tennessee. These are towns that if you've watched the Kaiser Report for any length of time, you've seen me take you through tours of these towns, car shows in these towns, and drive-in restaurants that are up in Irwin, and Irwin has been hit so badly. I don't even think that drive-in probably survived this. I'm not sure of that. There's no way for me to drive into Irwin right now, and there is no way for us to get to Asheville whatsoever, because on Route 26 and through Sam's Gap, the bridges are out. The flooding was so tremendous, and the force of the water was so tremendous that it took out a 4-lane highway bridge. And the president sleeps on the beach. And the vice president is running around with Hollywood elites getting millions of dollars to spend on campaign ads in which she just lies to us like she has for the last 4 years. When you anoint somebody into a position that the entire population never got a chance to vote on, it's a sickening situation. We have an opportunity right now to get close to God and start praying for help that we need to bring this country back onto the track that was laid out for it in the very beginning, in the 1700s, when the founding fathers put together an ironclad constitution that, if it was adhered to today, we wouldn't have half the problems that we have. We have laws about entering this country. They're written, they're in force, and they have been ignored for 4 years now, and even more if you want to go back a couple of other administrations, and somewhat curtailed under the Trump years, but not completely closed. We need to apply the laws that are on the book rather than add new laws, and just shut this border down, and people have to come through with visas and the proper paperwork. And there is no way you're going to convince me that 30 million people are coming here for asylum. And by the way, the asylum people that got in several years ago it never showed up for their court date. What does that tell you? We have terror groups that are amassing in this country in certain areas. We have ISIS fighters. We have Argentinian gangs that are milling together. We have Chinese nationals of military age. We don't know where half of them are. MS-13, the drug cartels that are actually have even taken over our Native American reservations. And women on those reservations are disappearing. The ICE numbers came out the other day. I don't know how anybody can defend that. We need to pray to God to help us here in this country and help us make the right decision. We need to get back to the belief that God will guide us if we just open our hearts and minds to God. And I'm not talking about organized religion. Your church is where you are. And wherever two or more are gathered in Jesus Christ's name, things happen. Remember that. You don't need organized religion to tell you how to vote, to tell you how to run your life. You have a good book that you can go to for direction if you feel that you need direction. But it is not a country that can survive without God, especially in these days where the evil has a foothold in this country right now, and we need to fight against the foothold that the devil has gotten with his minions in this country. Prayer is the answer. Thinking properly is the answer. And incorrect thinking will get you in trouble time and time again. So with that, it's Taco Tuesday. I hope you all can get out and get a taco, a burrito, and enjoy this Tuesday as best you can with all of the news that is hitting. Whether or not the stock market is going to react to this strike and the president's refusal to bring in Taft Hartly to put a stop and a pause and a cooling off period between the union and the ports. I just don't understand why that hasn't been done already in light of the devastation of Hurricane Helene that we're going through right now in this area, with no relief coming from the federal government other than the little bit that FEMA has done here and there. And to Joe Biden to say, well, it's going to be falling on the states because we don't have any more resources. Well, get some of these resources back from your little friend Zelensky and stop giving billions of dollars into a war that we have no business in supporting. We should be negotiating with Russia and Zelensky, not propping up Zelensky to get richer and continue a war that is costing lives and homes and discontent. There it is. This election is going to be what it is, but we have to make the right moves. And we have to protect against evil at all costs. Are both of these candidates, in my mind, the proper choices to have right now? No, but we do have a lesser of two evils right now, and that's the way we need to look at things. Pragmatically and with an eye on the future of what's going to happen in the next 4 years. And when will we get control of the overspending that this government does, and where that money is going, and what is it supporting, and what deviant behavior is making money from our tax dollars that we all work to pay into. And by the way, our senior citizens that are on Social Security are not the ones that we need to be taxing on top of the taxes that have already been paid into Social Security. And that's a safety net for an awful lot of people that Kamala will mess with. It's already in writing. Their big thing now before this debate tonight, which will take place between the vice presidential hopefuls of Clown Walls and J.D. Vance, ought to be interesting at best. We'll see, and we'll give you a report tomorrow on that. But I think that they're getting ready to hang their hat on that Trump has already signed off on the 2025 nonsense that they've been spouting. But he's already told everyone straight out, straight on, that he doesn't care anything about the 2025 plan. He has his own plans, and he will be very busy, if elected, trying to undo the 4 years of a dementia-ridden president that let underlings in the White House run this country without the ability to do that or ever being elected. And when you see Jill Biden taking over cabinet meetings, that ought to ring home with you. about what this administration is really and what's going on behind the proverbial curtain of lies that the Democratic Party has pushed on us for 6 years now. Enough of all of that. Have a great, wonderful Tuesday, and always remember, good thoughts and prayers can only help. So God bless you all. Bye-bye now from the Kaiser Report. We'll be back to you tomorrow with a look at the VP debate. Bye-bye.